So I own both an iPhone and an Android, but 90% of the time I'm actually using the Android phone. This is just mainly for testing, and I use it for a lot of video B-roll kind of stuff, and also communicating with friends, especially on like iMessage or something like that. And I really like Android because its customization is amazing. It's been way better than iPhone, but iPhone has been catching up with the OS and all the different updates. Google has kind of gone the other way. They kind of gone, like, look at this, like they're kind of both kind of converging together, and kind of one's taking stuff from the other. I already did a first impressions video. I'll link it down below the like button. You guys want to check that one out. This review is going to be more about the Pixel 9 Pro specifically, and how does it compare, and should you upgrade to this one, or should you get this new one as a new device, or should you get something else like the S24 Ultra? So before we get started, if you guys aren't already subscribed, please consider subscribing, and hitting that like button. It really helps me a lot, subbing, and hitting that notification bell. So this year, the main changes on the display is the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. So peak brightness is a little bit brighter at 2800. It's not that much more, but it's still high, it's still good. And compared to last year, it's better. So, and also the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, it's more reliable this year. It's faster as well. Now you might be wondering, okay, so now it has the flat sides, the flat display, and everything like that. It looks like an iPhone basically. And everyone keeps saying that, and it's true. It does have that. And I will point out the edges, the flat sides are basically glossy, and so you'll get fingerprints all over the place. But this is the first device I'm actually gonna use like this naked. Every other phone, this iPhone, I'm just showing you as it is, just to kind of give you guys an idea, but I do have a case on this all the time. And previously, my Pixel 8, Pixel 7, I've always used a case and a screen protector, but in this case, I'm not really using either or. Now, one of the other design changes that they did from last year is that I really do like that it's more of a pill shape now, and so you have less scratchy material in terms of the metal that's kind of going off to the side from the Pixel 8. But now it's just a pill shape, and the front part of this is, it's different coating. It's not that reflective, scratchy material coating. And however, you'll see that back here on this bottom part, it is still that same material, so it is glossy, and it'll get fingerprints, and then it'll get scratched up. But I think it'll be less likely because it's kind of in an area where it doesn't really get a lot of friction anywhere. It's really only going to be here where you get a lot of friction points. One of the other things is that Google didn't really advertise like what they did specifically with the cameras. The main sensor is exactly the same from last year, so you won't see any huge improvements there unless it's more of their software side for the processing. But the main thing is that you'll see pretty good improvements on the ultra wide, the telephoto, and the selfie camera. All of them use the same sensor now, so they've all upgraded to the Sony IMX858, which came out last year. However, last year doesn't mean that it's not good. Last year means it's still bleeding edge in terms of camera tech, because if you notice, the previous sensor they were using, it was from 2020, I think. And so that's a long time ago, and they keep using that same module, and they haven't upgraded until this year. And now the other thing is that the selfie camera, has autofocusing now. So you'll get a lot more clearer picture, just more stable in that sense. And then also, same with the telephoto, because it's an upgraded sensor, it has better low light capabilities. Even though the sensor size is exactly the same, the processing on that chip is a lot better. So you'll notice in some of the videos you'll see online, or even mine, that the telephoto does switch more often than not. So that means in low light conditions, you'll get to use that better sensor for that purpose. Now, one of the other things is that supposedly the 9 Pro and 9 Pro XL have a vapor chamber now that's newer, I guess, and better design. Now, I haven't really noticed that difference in terms of the heat dissipation. Now, it does get as hot as my Pixel 8 Pro that I had, and so I don't really notice that big of a difference, to be honest with you, but it does seem to be a little bit better, especially in cases where I'm using Android Auto in the hot summer here in Texas. So I have been playing Wuthering Waves and Nikki on my Pixel 8 Pro, and on Pixel 9 I've been playing Nikki for the most part, and I haven't really noticed any issues as far as heating or performance. But the processor itself isn't a huge upgrade from the G3 Tensor chip, so you won't expect to get gaming performance. If this is what you're trying to get a phone for gaming, I wouldn't recommend this one. This one's mainly for people that want a really awesome experience for the camera and the overall kind of Pixel vibe there. So however, when I say that, it doesn't mean that the Pixel 9 Pro or the Pro XL or even the Pixel 9 are slow. They all have the same chip. So they're all gonna be pretty fast for daily tasks. It's just that when I'm talking about processing speed for like AI tasks and stuff like that, even though that chip is supposed to be designed for AI, it doesn't seem to be that good when I've seen videos of it and I haven't tested it myself. It seems okay, it's pretty good, it's pretty fast, but not like blazing fast like an 8 Gen 3 or something like that. And I previously didn't talk about the AI stuff before just because I didn't think, okay, you guys already probably heard about it a million times. You probably don't want to hear more about it. But I did want to point out a few features that I really do like using. So first off, AdMe seems pretty useful. I don't know when I'll get to use it, especially if I'm with a group of friends. We'll probably just ask someone to take the picture, or maybe we'll use that feature. We'll see. Next one is the dedicated weather app. I really like that. I'm happy that they finally have a dedicated weather app, just like with the iPhone, and it works pretty well. It looks really nice, and yeah, also the screenshot app. I know it seems to be an underrated app for some reason online, but I find it very useful. Now I know, okay, where do I go for all my screenshots? Well, the screenshot app, there's an app for it. Kind of like the old Apple slogan, there's an app for everything, right? Gemini Not Live. Now that one, I thought it was gonna be a gimmick, to be honest. And I tried it because, well, the Pixel 9 Pros, they come with the 1 year, so why not give it a try? And I'm already subscribed to ChatGPT, so I'm subbed there, and then I'm like, I'm gonna use this for a year and see what happens. So I've been using it for, testing purposes, but also whenever I have questions, I wanna ask Gemini, and I'll ask the question. And when you do the live section, it's basically just a voice representation of the text format that you would normally type into Google Assistant, kind of. But you'll see that, yeah, okay, it sounds pretty good. You can interrupt Gemini Live as well, but sometimes it doesn't work quite well just because it just depends on the internet connection that you have. So if you're in a bad spotty area, you might not get a response right away, or it might be a little bit delayed. However, when it works well, it really does work, and it feels like you're talking to a real person. It's also kind of creepy, but yeah. Now, all the previous Google stuff that you guys probably known by now, Magic Eraser, what was the other ones? I mean, there's a bunch of all these little Pixel exclusive features. Personally, for me, now playing is probably one of my favorites. Even to this day, it's probably one of the best features that they've ever implemented. No one's been able to copy it, which is crazy. You would think that Google, they release a feature, okay, it seems cool, people buy a Pixel because of these kind of features, but no one's copying them. I don't know why. And I see some people complain about, oh, well, they should allow this feature to be on everything. Well, no, because that's Google's putting effort into that to design it for this particular hardware, and it doesn't work well on other devices, especially if you've seen some of the community trying to port over those apps over, and it doesn't work because they don't have the specific hardware ties to the device tree or whatever it is to make it work on those other Android devices. So with all that kind of out of the way, let's talk about the cameras, because the cameras are probably what separate most flagship smartphones nowadays. And I mean, it's going to be even more so going into the future with all the AI stuff that's going to be integrated into these phones. Now, is this better than iPhone? Depends, right? Last year, if you guys saw NKBHD's blind smartphone test, you'll find out that Pixel 8 Pro just basically destroyed the competition. And even though you see all these reviewers talk about, oh, the Vivo, the Xiaomi's, but how come those aren't destroying the Pixel even though those have better hardware? Well, because the processing on the Pixel is just that. It's amazing. Video, that's a different story, right? No one's really done a blind video contest, and this is where the iPhone really shines. The video on this is just kind of still light years ahead. Catching up, the competition is catching up definitely, but it's taking still some time for Android to kind of catch up to iPhone. So that's why I still have an iPhone, really, because the video is just way better on iPhone, especially the main camera. If we're talking about telephoto, it's a little bit different story, because the 14 Pro I have, it only does 3 times, but then the 5 times on the 15 Pro Max seems to be okay. It's okay, but it's not that much better compared to an Android phone because, well, the sensor they're using. So with that being said, how does the Pixel 9 Pro XL stack up to like the S24s, the iPhones of the world? So let's talk about camera. Main sensor, I've used the S24 Ultra for like about a month, and I will find that the the camera system on both main cameras are about the same, to be honest. The pictures I've took, you'll see a little bit of color science difference, but I tend to prefer the Google Pixel color science just a little bit. I do find that the S24 Ultra, when I used it, it's good. And it's actually more accurate in like weird lighting conditions, with especially with like neon lights in my room here. I prefer the output of the Pixel 9 Pro or the 8 Pro. They both kind of use the same profiling now, and then they use the same sensor, main sensor. So, you know, you'll get similar photos from the 8 Pro. So there's a lot of content out already for the 8 Pro. So if anything, you might be wondering, okay, well, why not get the 8 Pro? Well, because the ultra wide and the telephoto are just that much better compared to the 8 Pro that I had for like about a year at this point. And it's that much better. It's more stable. It switches more often. It's not really kind of, yeah, the main thing you'll see is just that it's just overall better. Even though it's the same sensor, same size sensor, it's a different new sensor. You'll be able to switch to it more often. You actually get to use the full capabilities of it. Same with the Ultra. It's a little bit wider. It's using the same sensor. And the reason why I'm harping on this or emphasizing on this same sensor mentality is that Apple kind of does the same thing. They use the same sensors on their camera system, because when they switch lenses, it's a lot smoother and you're able to go back and forth quite easily. Now, I will say though, because the camera array on the Pixel 9 Pro and 8 Pro and etc., the latest Pixels in the last few years, they use this horizontal camera array system where when you do switch, I think this puts it at a disadvantage versus like an iPhone or Samsung where it has a vertical approach. When you do a vertical, the orientation of where the cameras are placed, it makes the software, when they kind of switch the lenses, the transition animation, a little bit less jerky for a vertical array setup. But for horizontal, it's kind of weird because, well, there's a huge amount of distance between the telephoto and the main camera sensor. You're gonna have this weird setup, even though yes, vertically there is that similar setup, but because you're holding the phone like vertically, you're gonna see this weird problem. But when you hold it to the side, right? Well, most people don't take a picture like this, really. I think they find out that, oh, most people take a picture vertically and that's it. It's like the more natural way to hold your phone. So they tend to see, okay, well, that's how people mostly hold their phone. But when they take a picture like this, you might notice, okay, yeah, there's a little bit more jerkiness to the switching. But in the case of an iPhone, right, because it's more of a square array, it kind of has an advantage on both sides, even if you switch it like this. So, you know, it just depends. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking about, man, should I get 7 Pro to 8 Pro or 9 Pro or even the 9 for that matter, that's just all going to come down to the price. Ultimately, that depends on what you feel is price appropriate for you. I will say that the Pixel 9 Pro XL in particular has earned the right to be called a true flagship at this point, because last year it was $999, right, for the same size, same spec, kind of like spec'd out device, and the year before it was a little bit cheaper and whatnot, but they kept increasing the price, but also they kept increasing the features that you get, the benefits that you get, and the performance in terms of just the camera and whatnot. Again, the CPU is not gonna, you know, give you, oh, it's blazing fast. No, I don't think Pixels have ever tried to advertise that, and I think they don't want to compete in that space. So instead, they're trying to compete in a different space, completely in an AI space, where they actually have a home field advantage compared to all the other Android other flagships out there, right, where they're competing on hardware. Well, Google was like, nah, we're going to compete on software. We have the software smarts, we have Google search, you know, we own all these things, so we're going to use that to our advantage. So if you were to ask me, which one would you get, the Pixel 8 Pro or Pixel 9 Pro, it just depends on the price. If, say, the Pixel 8 Pro was like, I don't know, 500 off to the Pixel 9 Pro, I would probably get the Pixel 8 Pro and then just, you know, trade it in the next year or whatever for the 10 Pro. If you don't really see a good enough deal, it's only like $100 or $200 off, I'd probably just get the 9 Pro. You'll get Gemini Live, you'll get all this nice features, and then everything's new. You'll get the latest software updates, And, it's still 7 years of updates. So, right. So as long as I think you can get a good deal, especially right now, I think Google's still having like a decent trade-in deal for the Pixel 9 Pro. But if you can get a deal elsewhere for trading in your older phone, then I think go ahead and do that. I think that's ultimately gonna depend on what your finances are and then what you can afford. So, but I think if you can, you should definitely go for the newest model. I know it's kind of sound like cliche. Yeah, of course the newest model is going to be the best. And what about the older one? But when this came out, I was thinking about it, man, because I had the 8 Pro still. I was thinking about it. Well, do I want to upgrade? It doesn't seem that big of an upgrade. But then as I started looking into it more and actually using the device really changed my mind, because I still had the phone, I still had the 8 Pro, and I was comparing it in the previous video, and I was like, man, I really want to trade it in now. Because at first I was thinking, okay, I'm going to try it out for a little bit, and then return it or whatever. But no, I just traded it in and I'm keeping this phone. So I hope this video helps you make a decision on your next purchase, whether it's a Pixel 9 Pro or a Pixel 8 Pro. But if it did, I hope you guys have a good one, and please consider subscribing, liking, and hitting that bell icon, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.